But the Miami Dolphin cheerleaders were older. I mean, they looked older. They had makeup on. It was like, wow, and they seemed to get more sideline area than we did. Yeah, they got more sideline area than we did. But it was an experience, and it was so funny. It was 55 degrees. And a lot of us girls decided, wow, this is warm. Let's go swimming. Oh. And you had people in fur coats from Miami that were sitting on the balcony looking at us like, what is wrong with these people?
Hello, St. Louis Park. This is Dr. Cooper, Assistant Superintendent, and I am so excited to be here with the Hall of Fame Parkettes that originated here in St. Louis Park. Sitting next to me, I have Cindy, I have Mary, I have Teresa, and Liz here. So, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, well, first off, please introduce yourselves better than what I could. Introduce yourselves and say what time you was a part of the Parkettes.
Okay. My name is Cindy Lubet Calland, and I joined Parkettes in 1964, and that was the first year the Parkettes cheered for the Vikings. And I was in the group for 3 years until I graduated high school in 67.
Okay.
I'm Mary Bechet Miller, and I was in from 1973 to 1976. I got to attend a Super Bowl and graduated in 76, so my tenure was done.
All right.
I am Teresa Bechet, and I was a Parkette from 1978 to 1981. And the last group that actually cheered at the Met Stadium in an open field, and one of the first groups for even the transformation of uniforms.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm Liz Track, and I was a Parkette from 1974 to 1976. My twin sister also became a Parkette her senior year, so we had the opportunity to dance together. And I grew up over by Fern Hill. Yes, where we grew up, I grew up by Fern Hill.
Okay, so you have all here from St. Louis Park. So just share, what area of St. Louis Park are you all from?
Well, I'm from the same area Liz is. I went to Fern Hill Elementary School, which is now Torah Academy, and that's over on Joppa and like 28th Street.
Okay.
And I grew up on Glenhurst, which is the name of my street, up at the top of a hill overlooking what we used to call France Field and then Cedar Lake. But now France Field isn't a field any longer. I think it's swamp.
Okay.
We grew up in St. Louis Park, obviously, and my junior and senior high school years were on Zarthon, which is about 8 blocks from here.
Okay.
So
If people didn't know, I'm telling you, sisters here.
yeah.
Yes.
Sisters.
Yes. Yes.
Now, so how did the Parkettes form? I heard there was a parent group, parents behind it.
Well, I'll start because the Parkettes themselves were formed in the late 1950s. Fran Libby was the name of the woman who helped form the group. And it was a very small group at that time, maybe about 10 girls. By the time the 1960s rolled around, it became a very, very, something people really wanted, the girls really wanted. So we had maybe 90 to 120 girls try out every year. Now, this is the days when this is the baby boomer period. So I graduated with a class of about 780 kids.
Wow.
And the other thing that I think it's important to know is that this is before Title IX went into effect. So there were no girls' sports in those days at all. And so the only activities, physical activities you could do as a girl was either the synchronized swimming, the surf bells, cheerleading, or Parkettes. And there was 30 of us each year.
So out of 90 to 100 girls that would come try out, 30 will make the team.
Well, 10 each year. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But then this is probably getting to be more complicated than you want. But Mrs. Libby was our director. She designed all the costumes. I think I said once before we loved sequins and fringe and color, which wasn't something we necessarily did on the Vikings stadium. But she was very strict with us. And we had a point system that was a little different than yours. Ours just, if you had 25 points off over the course of a year, you had to try out again. And you got 10 points off for every absence from any practice for whatever reason. Didn't matter what the reason was.
Wow.
So she was quite strict. We did not have a parent group.
Okay.
Because she was the one in charge. And my final year, when we every year the Parkettes took a wonderful trip. My senior year, we went to Hawaii, and that year some of the parents did a fundraising. But that was kind of the first time parents ever really got involved. I know the other girls, they had their parents were much more involved.
Okay, so we're gonna go a little bit around about how did you all get involved? Like, how did
In
you
Parkettes?
Yes.
Well, my girlfriend, her sister was a Parkette sometime in 1978, somewhere in that era. I'm not quite sure, but she got me to go watch her sister. And at that time, in the summertime, they would have what they called park petites. So the Parkettes would teach the park petites a dance that they got to perform at halftime at the Vikings.
Right.
I watched this, and I watched those girls, and Mrs. Libby was still alive, so I got to see her and her strict, discipline for the girls and how they performed. It was just amazing. So I tried out for petites. At that time, there were really overwhelming amount of kids, so I ended up being an alternate as a park petite.
Wow.
Yeah. But I still had to go to every practice. I had to learn the dances. I just didn't have the costume, and I wasn't guaranteed to go.
So the park petites was like a younger age.
Yes.
Yeah, ninth
And
grade.
Ninth
My
grade.
time, it was ninth grade. I don't know if it
Ours
was younger
was
than
ninth grade all the way down like to, what would you say, fourth or fifth?
Oh,
You had it-
okay.
So even
and the
fourth grade.
Parkettes would
Yeah.
teach the park
Park-
petites.
Right.
And
Yeah.
ours was just ninth grade.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, because that, again,
Yeah.
our numbers were so big.
Yeah.
yes.
Oh,
But
wow.
this was at that time too. The park petites it was
yeah.
enormous
Huge.
amount of kids,
Yeah.
girls. And I remember getting the phone call that I could dance at the game. And I didn't care how big or small it was. I was getting in it and I was going. And when I got to that field and I looked at those girls out there, I said to myself, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to strive for. And I'm going to make it.
Wow. Okay.
And I did.
You did.
Yes.
You did
And
well.
She did.
I did.
All right.
Yes.
How did you join?
And
Teresa?
well, it was dad driven. And it was because our parents, it was dad driven, Liz, because the parents were involved at that time. And our mother was on the board, but also the parents would sell Viking programs at the games. And I don't know, would you say that was a way of us,
We got a portion
A
of the
portion of the
proceeds
proceeds,
would go
yes.
into our kitty.
Okay.
Yeah. Parents had a wonderful time. And again, that was at the Met Stadium. So, it was a whole different ball game, really. And really loved it. And they had gone on the trips as chaperones. And so when I was in ninth grade, yeah, I was kind of like Treese, like you're trying out. And I was a park petite.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
But I think
what
he-
grade? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I think my dad and my mother, they got Gate D. And Gate D was where the players came in.
oh, yeah.
So my dad just thought, he was the coolest guy because he got to talk to the players. He saw them come in before the game. And this was a huge thing. So I think
It was
for him, he was like, I got to get back there.
Yeah.
She's got to get in because I got to get
So
back there.
it was dad driven to get to
Yeah.
go to the games.
yeah, because after you sold the tickets,
Yeah.
or
You watched
the
the game.
programs, excuse me, you went into the game.
Yeah.
And what was
So-
the name of the stadium? It was
The Met Stadium.
The Met-
yeah.
Metropolitan
Where the
Stadium.
Mall of America,
America
is.
is now.
That
Yeah.
was where the Met Stadium was.
Okay, so
Yeah,
if people know here is I'm from Detroit, so
Yes.
Right.
so seeing that ever since I came here, I've always saw the Mall of America. So
Yep.
you got pushed into it. I won't say push, but
Well,
Inspired.
they enjoyed,
Yeah.
so much.
So
because of the
Yeah.
games and going.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
you also saw your sister as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, Liz, how did you join?
Similar to what Mary did, I was also a park petite. My twin sister and I, and really the girls in the neighborhood. I actually think we were younger than like fourth or fifth grade maybe. And we practiced here outside of Central
Mhm.
Junior High,
Mhm.
outside. And then we performed I think it was halftime. And it was fabulous to be able to be on the field and all of that.
Also, so practice was right
Here
like,
in St. Louis Park.
Right here in
in
St. Louis,
front
but-
of Central.
Right at
Right
the
in
front
front of
door.
Central.
Front door. Yeah.
So how did it get from performing here in St. Louis Park to getting to the Vikings game? Like how did that take place?
Well, why don't I start with that?
Okay.
The Vikings had a couple other cheerleading groups, maybe 1 year at a time. But then in 1964, the Vikings contacted Mrs. Libby, Fran Libby, and recruited the Parkettes to come. And we got paid $50 a game, the Parkettes kitty, because we always were raising money every year for trips that we took, because Parkettes took wonderful trips. Max Winter, who was the owner of the Vikings, lived in St. Louis Park. In fact, they lived a block away from me. And I think he was interested. That's kind of how they got in contact to begin with. My sophomore year, then we cheered for the Vikings. The next year, the Edina Hornets did it.
And the Rockettes. They were
Two groups,
combined
okay.
together.
And then I think they decided they wanted to go back to the Parkettes because I think we were more dependable or something. I'm not sure what.
You
So
were
then
better.
from then on, well, I would like to say we were better, but
What's interesting about that is when I was Parkette, I actually thought we were the original Parkettes. And it wasn't until I became on the NBC executive board that I realized that we were not necessarily the first group. Cindy's was the first group of Parkettes
Yes.
to actually cheer. But like she said, there were two other teams that were from other schools. There was also a group, they were called the Vikings.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And here's an interesting kind of connection to the Parkettes. So there were 7 or 8 of the Vikings, and I encourage everyone to go to the cheer wall when you go to the U.S. Bank Stadium because it shows the lineage of the cheerleaders as well as the Parkettes. And so the Vikings, there were 7 or 8 of them. One of the women that was on that group is actually an aunt of a Parkette that we danced with.
Okay.
So there was even that connection back then.
Yeah.
And so then the Parkettes, like Cindy said, came in from 64 to probably 83 and cheered for the Vikings. And then it evolved into
What it is
Professional
today.
cheerleaders.
Was there a pom-pom group?
So
That was the Vikings.
So the pom-pom group
Oh,
is what you're referring to is the Vikings. They are
Okay.
the ones that were in 62 or 63.
Yeah, okay.
And they did pom and they did dance and they did cheer. Much smaller group though.
Yeah, we had pom poms. I mean, that was we danced with pom poms. We made our own pom poms. I could still probably make one if I needed to.
and actually, the Parkettes also were pom-pom girls. A small group of them
Yes.
were pom-pom girls
Yeah.
for St. Louis Park
Yes,
High.
and I was
and that
one of
was
those.
part of
Yeah.
I was too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was our, and so was my sister. That was our kind of like our pay
Okay.
to the district, to St. Louis Park High, for using their facilities,
Oh,
because
okay.
we weren't
We weren't the
really
cheerleaders.
we weren't
Right.
affiliated
No.
with the school. We had no advisor. We didn't have anything like that. We had we had the board, and you were run by Mrs. Libby. But so in lieu of that, we would dance at games, basketball games, St. Louis Park High School basketball
Right.
games.
Okay.
We would provide pom-pom girls for football and basketball.
Okay.
And then that was our way of kind of paying rent.
One of my favorite parts of being a Parkette was dancing at basketball games. Every home
like the
basketball
football
game we danced at. It was
Yeah.
one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
So how was practice? I mean, you talked about how strict it was.
Yeah.
So how was practice? Like how many hours, how much time went into this?
Well, again, going way back, 1964, practice 2 hours twice a week, every Tuesday and every Friday, for 2 hours. But it was all year long. It wasn't just during the school year. So we rehearsed
Even in the summer.
all summer. Yeah.
Did you guys switch days in the summer?
No, we
Oh,
did 2
we
days
did.
a week, 2 days a
We
week,
did.
even in the summer.
Oh.
And we were hired a lot to go around from different groups to perform. Nothing having to do with the Vikings, but so we would be hired. I think I may have mentioned before by the state of Minnesota to travel around the state and perform at all the prisons and state hospitals. And then we would be hired by private groups to go and perform. So we always had a program of at least 4 different dances that had nothing to do with the Vikings. And there was wonderful costumes and, as I said, fringe and sequins and can number. And we danced at the St. Paul Winter Carnival every year and we're paid for that. So it was a much broader group.
So these costumes, there's leather, there's sequins. Who came up with the ideas? Who made them?
Mrs.
Well,
Buffer.
our seamstress was Miss Gibbs.
Mhm.
She did everybody's.
Yeah.
And I think she even did the Park Petites.
Yeah.
If I don't-
Yeah.
That was nice about her. We had a kind of a reunion after one of our performances. She came
Yeah.
and she was honored by all of us for all of the work that she did. So she is still alive, but she did hand sew
Yes, yeah.
all of the costumes.
Mhm.
I want to get back though to the
Yeah.
question about practices. So in
Yes.
addition to twice a week, my unit leader, Rebecca, had us practice at her house
Yep.
Oh,
multiple times
So did we.
a week.
Yep.
And so she wanted us to look the best and be the best.
Yep.
And so in addition to
Mhm.
the rigor of our Tuesday
Or
and
the
Thursday,
organized.
we had
group.
those extra practices.
Yep, we did too.
Now, did you have the same system? You talked about points.
Yes.
Did you have the same system?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it stayed consistent.
I was going to say yes and no because I heard about your system, which there were a few things that I was a little upset to hear about. That you had weigh-ins,
Yep.
for example.
Yep.
That we
Yeah.
never ever had weigh-ins, and I
Yeah.
think that's
Really?
terrible.
Yeah, we
That
did.
they did that.
So we also we were 2 days a week and it was 3 hours. And summertimes, depending what was going on, because we also did parades. So I don't know about you guys, but in front of St. Louis Park High School,
Mhm.
right? I don't know, it was when cars were not going by, we would practice in the
Mhm.
street and then
Oh.
cars would go
Oh,
by.
yes.
and
I remember
do
doing
you remember
that.
that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
But to the point also where we had unit practices. So we had 40 girls in our group, and then we were divided into 5 units according to height.
Oh.
And then each unit would have a unit leader and
Assistant leader.
an assistant leader. Tony Swigum, who was our choreographer, she would have best unit at Viking games.
Mhm.
So that's why you did want to practice
Oh,
more
interesting.
Mhm.
because she'd be watching
Big
you.
incentive.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
Scary too.
So
yeah, yeah.
so you performed at the Met Stadium, which is
Mhm.
an outdoor stadium.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Now, it gets pretty cold here in
Yes.
Minnesota.
Yes, it does.
How did you stay warm? I saw some videos,
Yeah.
and I mean the air is just
Yes.
the coming out of your
I always
mouth.
thought that was so cool.
Me too. It was so fun.
What did you do? How did you stay warm?
We had blankets. We had, I don't know what you guys had. We had what they called jagundas.
Oh.
Okay, what's that?
Jagunda is a big air moon boot.
Oh, I remember
You
seeing
remember
pictures
those?
of
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And
That
they
was
kind of had like a nylon covering over
foam.
foam. Yeah, and then you would secure them with a string in the back, and they were purple, gold, and white. And you just prayed when you were
Tights.
dancing that those
They stayed
bad
on.
boys stayed on, because I
Unless they
lost
didn't.
one,
Mm.
and it was hard getting it back.
Yeah. Well, they were slippery too.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
when you're that young, I don't really.
You don't care.
I don't
Yeah.
think we really cared.
I cared.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I cared.
Oh, I loved
It was
Yeah.
really cold. I mean, we had little wool jumpers, and then we had wool sweaters, and that was it. I mean, we didn't have any blankets. We didn't
Oh.
wear jackets.
It gets to be 10 degrees.
Yeah, I know.
Or negative.
And I have a picture of us the first year, and we have little tennis shoes on. Now, my second year, we had go-go boots because that was cool in 1966. Go-go boots. And then we would put plastic bags around our feet inside the go-go
Oh
boots
my goodness.
to keep our feet a little warm. And then we wore flesh-colored
Yeah.
Tights.
tights, and
Yeah.
that was it. It was cold. It was very cold.
I don't know what you guys had. We had ski jackets.
We had
purple
ski jackets.
You had ski
True.
jacket.
Oh, that.
Yeah. But then we also went into leotards.
Mhm. Right. Right.
Right, but
So
I
that-
have to admit that I think we had really good seasons. I think we had one really bad day,
Yeah.
one really bad Sunday where it was sleeting and raining,
Yeah.
where we had to take turns being out so we could sit in the dugout. So it'd be like 2 units would go out per quarter. And just because we didn't come prepared. And all we had were those ponchos, those rain ponchos, and they were splitting because it was
So cold.
it was cold and sleeting and raining. Do you remember that?
Yep.
There's a picture of Sally.
And actually, some of the pictures I sent you are the costumes.
Mhm.
The jacket
Yeah.
is in there, and the rain poncho,
Yeah.
and we just made it work.
Yeah.
It's amazing to hear that because I watched the old NFL films, the purple people eaters.
Yeah.
and,
that was
Hey,
my year. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
sitting
Those
out there and it's so
guys.
cold and you all just like, oh, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was something.
I thought, I loved it.
yeah.
Honestly, my philosophy was if the Vikings are out there playing,
Mhm.
and my mom and dad, who just sold all of the programs to enable me to dance, were sitting in the stands, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And it was, and I think to Mary's point, I really only remember
One bed.
one bad
Yeah.
game. Because if you think about it too, the season starts in the fall.
Yeah.
So we had very lovely weather. And then because we didn't make it as far as we could have, the season wasn't necessarily
That long.
yeah.
You get to December. Well,
We pretty much made the playoffs. Though.
Yeah, we did.
Every
yeah.
definitely
year.
in December.
Every
Yeah.
year.
But you made it to the Super Bowl.
I made it to
did.
the Super Bowl.
So how was that experience?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. It was amazing. We were in Houston, Texas. We
Okay, wow.
cheered at the Astrodome.
Mm.
Carl Kasulke, who was a player that was in a motorcycle accident,
yes.
Oh, yeah.
helped charter a North Central Airlines for us.
Wow.
I
didn't
yeah,
know that either. That's
and we got flown down. Where normally they took buses. And we stayed at the Radisson in Houston. And I remember getting on the field and we were cramped in the sidelines. We played the Miami Dolphins. We lost. But the Miami Dolphin cheerleaders were older. I mean, they looked older. They had makeup on. It was like, wow, and they seemed to get more sideline area than we did. Yeah, they got more sideline area than we did. But it was an experience, and it was so funny. It was 55 degrees. And a lot of us girls decided, wow, this is warm. Let's go swimming.
Oh.
And you had people in fur coats from Miami that were
Right.
sitting on the balcony looking at us like, what is wrong with these
funny.
people? And we were like, hey, it's
Minnesota.
fun.
And did you make connections with other cheerleaders across the NFL and stuff like that?
I didn't.
But when I was cheering, there weren't any other cheerleaders throughout the whole NFL.
Right, you were all the first.
But then the Dallas, we called them the Dallas Cowgirls. It was the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, and they were the professionals. They had different kinds of costumes than we did.
Back in
Always.
that day, really? They were
They were the first
Dallas
ones.
had one?
Yep.
Wow, I didn't
and
realize
and
it.
they wore different. As I said, they wore different
Yeah.
costumes than we did.
Yeah,
They were quite a bit older.
yeah.
I would say one thing too as it relates to the Super Bowl. I was a Parkette after Mary started, and then so that they went to the Super Bowl that year, and then they went to the Super Bowl the next year, and so that team that went to the Super Bowl is. I want you to go to the cheer wall because there's a
Yes.
picture of them, and then one of our friends, Kathy Milady, gave us
Mm.
the ticket that her mom and dad had for the Super Bowl. And we blew that up and it's on the cheer wall. So there's so much
wow.
history there.
Mm-hmm.
And like Mary got the opportunity to go to the Super Bowl and the next group did. And it was
That's awesome.
amazing.
So you all have done so much, and you talked about discipline and grit to help you be successful in everything that you've done. So what is something you would tell our students here in St. Louis Park?
I think I would tell them that if you see something, just go for it. Put everything you've got into it, because what you see and what you conceive, you shall achieve.
I like that.
I don't know if I could say that any better. But yeah, I mean, with anything, with hard
Anything.
work, if you have a dream, and also to know that it does take practice, and with that you can just achieve anything and not give up, but you have to really You
Mhm.
really have to put forth the effort to do
Mhm.
so.
So for me, I would answer that. So let me take a step back.
Yes.
As on the board, we have to write letters to all of the Viking cheerleaders every year that they, that it's their day of like special moment. And so I've got some copies of them over there. But what I tell them is, if you're injured, don't let that stop you.
Mhm.
If you are tired, don't let that stop you. If you need someone to help pick you up, go tap them on the shoulder, say, Mary, I need something. I need some help. And so this is all about, in my mind, being a village. And it starts with caring. It starts with sisterhood. It starts with putting your mind in front of the situation and just living through obstacles.
Sidestep
Because the end result is phenomenal. Like Mary and I don't really connect that often, but when we were doing the interview a few weeks ago, I said, Mary, you want to do it? And so I could call her and just say, I need your help.
Mhm.
Or Cindy. And I asked Cindy for pictures to put on the cheer wall of the 1964 group of Parkettes.
Mhm.
I didn't know Cindy, but I knew when she graduated. So it's takes a step and it'll pay off years down the road. That's what I would say to them.
So my even connection with that, to just add on, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think a lot of it, even though it was really strict, is we were pushed, and I think that's it, due to the fact that we were on a point system,
Mhm.
and it was, you go to practice if you're sick, or I don't get this dance. Will you help me? Like everything that you said, Liz, was the way that we worked
Community.
together as a
Yeah.
Community.
It
and
really
we
was.
had to get each other through it all,
Mhm.
because if somebody looked bad, the whole team's going to look bad.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
I can't add a lot other than I think the really hard work, and even as Liz was saying, even when it's hard, you keep on going.
Mhm.
And I taught English for 37 years, and I didn't always see students have that same attitude of, this is too hard, I can't do it. No, you can do it, you just have to push. And if you can't figure it out, you ask for help.
Mhm.
And I liked what you all said about that.
Well, I can't thank you all enough for this time talking about the bond and the history, and you truly are mean so much. This community is so proud, and the legacy that you have in bringing on to our new Minnesota Vikings cheerleaders, and just what you've done here in St. Louis Park. So I thank you for this time, and continue to watch our Park Pride podcast.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dr.
Thank you.
Day by day, take it year by year, just one step at a time. It may take a little bit longer, but the web you weave will be stronger. Just take one step at a time, just one step at a time.